Okay, this video is the Doug Lisle Pleasure Trap. Okay, so we'll show you what this is about. Um, Basically, what he's talking about is what we're designed to eat is a low-fat vegan diet. And of course, everybody should know Doug Lisle. He's a PhD psychologist, used to work with Dr. McDougall. And this is what we're designed for, to eat a low-fat vegan diet, starch-based. That keeps us happy and healthy, and we enjoy it. It's pleasant, okay? However, it doesn't have all the fancy bells and whistles nutritionally not nutritionally, but in terms of taste, that they can put into processed food. And processed food, they can make it hyperpalatable. They used to do research, these food companies, to achieve what they call the bliss point, just the right combination of sugar and salt and MSG, MFG, and they fry it and stuff and get the mouth texture just right so people just love the taste of it. It's rather extraordinary, activates all of our sensory receptors for, food that tastes good. So what happens is a person becomes addicted to this rather quickly, but then they become habituated. Habituated means the nerves, they're desensitized. So they just they take it for granted. There's going to be tons of sugar, MSG, and salt, sodium, fried food, etc. in their regular diet. So that now becomes so no big deal to them. However, once they're accustomed to eating all this type of fancy chemicals in their food, then when they try to eat low-fat vegan, it seems incredibly boring. So I rate this. Here's the scale over here of pleasure. High pleasure when they first taste this palatable junk food, like the first time you taste a pizza. And then medium enjoyment, like eating a regular starch-based, plant-based vegan diet. And then low, blah, lack of pleasure, lack of dopamine release in your neurotransmitters in your brain. Okay, so what's the point of all this? The point is that the typical Westerner eating the SAD diet, standard American diet, has become accustomed to all this heavily processed food with all these hyperpalatable chemicals. So when they try eating low-fat vegan, it's just blah. They don't like the taste of it. And so he made a couple points. He said, number one, you can just go on a fast for a brief amount of time, 1 or 2 or something days, and you can do a little brief water fast, and that can, just fasting for a while, will resensitize your taste buds to enjoy the low-fat vegan again. And of course, I think he works also a bit with the True North and with, Dr. Goldhamer over there. So they're especially into fasting. They're the experts on fasting. Okay, but anyways, if you're mentally strong and smart, you can just say, hey, you got to eat, all right? So just eat the low-fat vegan diet and you'll get used to it pretty fast. And once it's been a little while, you'll become accustomed to it and you'll like it. It's very sustainable. That's actually the unique thing about the low-fat vegan diet is other diets, if anybody is hyper careful for a couple of months, they can lose some weight on any of these BS nonsense diets, but they're not going to be sustainable long-term versus low-fat vegan starch-based diet. It's very easy to sustain that for decades and decades for the rest of your life. But anyways, this is one way to break the magic spell of addiction, was to go on a brief fast, like a brief water fast or something. So I'm not saying you have to do that at all. I didn't never do that. But for a lot of people, that helps them. I like that guy. I think he's Andrew Taylor or something, the Mr. Potato guy who was weighed over 300 pounds and then ate only potatoes for something like 6 months or something, and he lost tons of weight. So anyways, this is the idea of the pleasure trap. It gets you into thinking that, first of all, it gets you addicted to this junk food and fast food, and then secondarily, it makes the good food seem like it's not that good, like it doesn't taste good. But you break the spell either by taking some time off or doing this brief water fast, and then you can go back to low-fat vegan. I'll put a link into Doug's original talk so you can watch it in more detail if you like. And actually, I thought of something funny as soon as I heard this, and I'm like, this is like the difference between a hot Betty who's kind of crazy versus a nice woman. So a nice woman, she wants to be partner with you. She's not playing any games. She cares about you. You care about her. You're good to each other. Everything is good. And that's the optimal way life should be. But then the hot Betty is kind of exciting. She's real pretty. She's a real drama queen. She's a little bit crazy. It's a lot of fun for a weekend or two. But then she starts sucking the energy out of you and causing you trouble. And you're like, oh my God, this is life. What a crazy, sick bitch this woman is. And so, on the other hand, though, regular plain Jane, she seems kind of boring in comparison of all this brief excitement with Hot Betty. But after you've know what it's like to go through all the problems with Hot Betty, then you're like, where's plain Jane? I want her. I want her. I want her so bad. Like if I could pick a wife over again after all these years of experience, I'd say go for loyal Lucy, who wants to be a partner with you, who just wants to get along and raise a family, who doesn't lie and BS you, who's simple, who's intelligent. Select more for intelligence over beauty. You'll be much better off. It lasts a lot longer as well. Anyways, be that as it may, I thought that was somewhat analogous.